Hope you've had a good day yesterday, good night's sleep. It's a privilege we all take, but you realize when you're around babies that it's not a privilege to just take. It is a privilege to actually get a good night's sleep in. Okay, we're going to continue today on our topic of emotions. And a lot of you had spoken about yesterday as an emotion that you would like to address is that of fear. So, one of the things I'd like you to actually put in the chat box today is what is it that, what is the fear that you're talking about? What are the fears that you find difficult overcoming? Or as we had put the question that, what is the emotion that you find difficult accepting? So is it the fear that you're scared of, or is it you accepting that you have a fear of a certain thing that actually holds you back from moving ahead in life? So please, as we're going ahead, put that on the chat so we can address the exact aspects of what might be the blockage for you, whether it is the fear of fear or whether it is the fear of something else in general. Okay, I'll give you all a minute to put things on the chat. If there's anything that I don't remember, a couple of people who had mentioned fear yesterday. So please put that down, and we're going to discuss today fear and the many, many layers that come with it. Why is it that we, knowing well that we have a certain fear, find it difficult for us to overcome that fear as well? So please, whoever had entered fear, put that down, and we're going to also see if we can take a release around fear so that we can speak about, not only speak about it, but also release the layers of fear that might be there. Fear of failure, okay. I think it's the acceptance of fear, fear of moving forward. All right. So an interesting thing while people are typing up about the fear of failure. So many of us, we start a new project, we have to move forward with an idea that we have. I wish to do something, I wish to do something different. I wish to start a new project. I wish to take a leap of faith as far as a relationship is concerned, anything at all. A lot of us feel like we have a fear of failure. And that is the one that is, captivating us. That is the one that is holding us back. Interesting fact here, we've done years and years of sessions, and the one thing we've realized is while the fear of failure is very, very valid, of course, yes, it is, the fear of success is a lot more prominent. We just don't think ever that we could have a fear of success. Let me give you an example, okay? Now, a fear, where does the feeling of fear come from? The feeling of fear generally comes from me not knowing what will I do. So if I fail, if I'm unwanted, if things change, if I have scarcity, like this, they've written fear of lack, what will I do? Where will I be? What position will I be in? Can I deal with that? That is where my fear comes in. Because I don't know if I'm in that situation, if I can deal with it. I do not trust myself for being able to get out of that situation unscathed. And that's where fear comes in. That's where I decided to stop myself. That is applicable for every single fear. Fear of rejection, fear of lack, fear of change, fear of moving forward, fear of being unwanted. Even if I'm talking about other fears and phobias, fear of water, fear of heights, any of those things as well. Why am I scared? Because I don't know what to do and what if I drown? What will I do? Right now, that always comes from an unknown situation. So if I am in this situation, how will I cope with it? Now, failure is something most of us have experienced at a certain point in our life, in some manner or the other. You might have had low grades in school for something and have failed at doing well in it. You might have failed in a relationship you were in. You might have wanted to do a science project and been unable to execute it. Anything at all. We've experienced failure in small or big manners. I wanted to convince my mother and I couldn't. I failed at convincing my mother. Okay. So somewhere in our mind, whether we acknowledge it or not, which is where acceptance comes into a great extent, somewhere in our minds, we know, our mind knows what to do when you fail. Okay. However, success, many of us may not have experienced in the way we would like to. Does not mean you've not been successful. But when I'm looking at being successful at that project, that success in my mind is a very specific picture of what I want. I've given this example before. I had a person, he was just like, shifting careers, getting into the acting field at that point in time. And same thing is like, I don't know, Richa, what will happen if I fail? I've invested too much money in this. I've put all my savings into actually getting my shoots out, like getting my shoot done, sending that portfolio across. In sort of switching careers, I'm risking everything and I'm so scared. What happens if I fail? I don't know if I can do this. And the one thing that we always say, fear is a very layered emotion. Any fear that you believe you have, any fear at all, you would have it, you may have it. But that fear that you know, that you are consciously aware of, is always your fear at a surface level. It may not be your deepest fear. It is your deepest fear, which is very, very inbred, which is what, sort of holds you back. When you will ask a person, they will say, yeah, I mean, I feel this fear, but I don't know why, it is so much. I've never had any experience that, I should be so scared of what, or I should be so scared of something. There would be a deeper level of fear. So it's a layered emotion. So what we look at doing is getting beneath the layers and seeing what happens. Like I told you, the first thing that, the reason the fear erupts is because I do not know what will happen if this happens. And I'm too scared to go there. So what we actually do with fear when we sit in a session is ask them, so what is the worst that happens if you, whatever their fear is, if you're unwanted, if you fail, if you're rejected, whatever it is. So I took him along that line of questioning. What is the worst that happens if you fail? No, I mean, it'll be bad. I will lose all my savings. I will be back to where I started. All my work will go to waste. I've put years and years of time in this. People will judge me. People will think, they will laugh at me because, I told them so confidently that I want to switch careers. Everything, I will be devastated. I don't think I'll be able to function. I don't know what I will do next. And you keep prodding. Okay, so then what happens? Okay, so then what happens? Okay, so then what happens? I said, okay, so people are laughing at you. You don't have any savings anymore. You wasted all this time. Then what is the worst that can happen? Eventually, the person got to, and most people get to, I'll be devastated. I won't know what to do. I'll be crying. I'll be depressed. I won't have money. I won't have this. Eventually, they go to, then I'll get up and I will, sort of learn from my mistakes and I'll start again. I'll get up and I'll start again. Then what happens? No, nothing happens. Then, I mean, I know I would have learned from my mistakes. And I will start again. I'm confident I'll do something with my life. I know that, even if I do not succeed at this, but I will still be able to do something. I will still be able to start somewhere. Now, same thing. So when you realize everything's going to be okay in the end, there's really nothing to be scared about then, right? If someone tells me, no, I mean, it's okay. What happened? It's okay. Next, we went with, okay, so now if you really want to be very, very successful, he wanted to be an actor. So, and touch wood, he's doing really well for himself now. At that point, we just took examples of, like mega stars that are known over here in India. We said, okay, so, you get to this really big stage, you're doing really, really well. That time he was doing poster ads. So yours is a face that everyone recognizes. You become the next Shah Rukh Khan. What happens then? You're really, really successful. So, of course, everyone's very happy with it in the start. He's like, no, that would be great. That's the dream. I'll be very happy. Again, here we did not leave it at the first line that came. I said, okay, then what happens? Then what happens? Then what happens? So it went from, it's great, I'm feeling so good. My dreams have come true. I'm very, very happy. Everything is going right in my life. to eventually, so what does your day look like? What happens? Him going like, but I don't know if I see anyone around me. I'm so busy with my projects that I think I've lost my relationships. We've had people say, I think I might not, be as humble as I am just now. We've had people fear that they're going to be left completely alone. People fear that they're not going to be able to balance that work and relationships that they have, their home and work balance. People scared that they're not going to be able to cope. And like so this was the actor. We've had healers who wanted to do well and they've had the same fear. So we've literally given them the example of, you're the best healer in the world. Like, just your presence, just your touch makes everyone all right. What happens then? Now they feel like I have this gift. So if I'm giving time to my family, if I'm giving time to myself, I feel like I'm wasting this opportunity, wasting this gift that the universe gave me. So I'm being unjust to all the people who need my help. And when I'm helping those people, I'm being unjust to all the people who've always stood by me. That's when the true fears come in, because when you ask them, then what happens? That's when you see the situation where they're like, no, then I end up completely alone. Then what happens? I'm doing what I'm doing, but I feel miserable with it. Then what happens? I don't want any of it. I just don't want any of it. And then you ask them questions in 100 ways, but that's where the answer stays fixated. So that's when you realize that the true fear that might be there of being unable to balance work and success, might be of getting arrogant when successful, might be of ending up all alone. How does it feel when you're all alone? No, it feels miserable. I never want that. So that's where we work on that. So even when you might be feeling a certain fear, seeing what are the layers beneath that, understanding the layers beneath that, gets us to understanding what the true fear is. And like we spoke about acceptance, simply accepting even the fear for what it is helps us shift it. So many times when people come with a physical fear, and I'm calling it a physical fear for lack of a better term, but I'm talking about a fear of heights, a fear of water, a fear of dogs, a fear of claustrophobia, so fear of closed spaces. With emotional stuff, they go on a different tangent. With physical stuff, you will see within 2 or 3 questions, they will tell you, no, I will die. I'll die. Oh my God, I'm sinking, I'll die. And then you're like, okay, so then what? So what happens if you die? And most people think, oh, you died. Like, that's the end of it, right? That's the end of everything that there is. That's the end of your story, end of your fear. But to our souls, every other experience might be new, but the experience of death is a very known experience. Because your soul might not have experienced a certain emotion. So one of the things we spoke about yesterday when we did the downloads, we didn't get a chance to actually discuss it. But one of the things that I'd actually done in the meditation that we did yesterday was helping you and your body and mind acknowledge emotions for what they are, feel grateful for them, for those of you that might remember from yesterday's meditation, and feeling grateful for having this opportunity here on the third plane to feel these emotions. So today I'm explaining that further. Emotions and the whole myriad of emotions that we feel is one of the privileges we have here on this planet, on the third plane. I know the planes of existence have been spoken about briefly through the sessions before, because they're a very, very in-depth study of what is there. So which is why we have to kind of think of whether we can get, sort of do that for you guys completely in the daily theta or not, and whether we can do justice to the topic of the planes. But to get the point and notice is that the third plane of existence, this human form that we have in our journey of evolution, is a form that we have been given to learn. is a form where we actually experience emotions and learn how to master them. We're not superior to plants, animals, objects, crystals. But why do we feel we are? Because A, we have ego, which is also one of those emotions, which makes us feel like we're better than everything, right? And B, we have emotions which we know how to manipulate, we know how to use, we've learned how to master. An animal feels that aggression, all that animal knows is to act upon it. You might feel that aggression, you might be able to modulate that aggression to decide when you want to act upon it. That's your difference. Both third plane beings, but in this human form, we have that opportunity. We do not acknowledge the human form enough, but it is one of the most beautiful forms we can have. Why do you feel all of the ascended masters as well? We speak about the forms of Vishnu. So you're talking about Krishna, Ram, you're talking about, any of your gods, you're talking about Jesus, you're talking about Buddha, all of them. Why do you feel like they took a human form to evolve? They're on the fifth plane. They could have simply just kept evolving over there. Did they need to come down, come to the third plane and evolve as human beings? When we speak about our masters, we speak about our angels, whatever your culture of faith, we speak about how they have this, umpteen amount of power. You see any mythological series, and you will see that, they have the power to click their finger and whatever they're thinking of simply happens. They have a thought and it's just done. They're hungry, they just have to think that I want food and their stomach will be full. Why do you think any of them choose to come into this form of humans where we are relatively helpless? Half our problems come because we feel helpless or angry or scared. And we feel that vulnerability, and that's where we grow. Why do you think that happens? That happens because this human form and this opportunity to experience emotions is bigger than we can understand, is a huge privilege we have. It is the chance to make mistakes and learn. You are given a playing field where you're told, you know what, learn at your pace. Make your own mistakes. The creator is there to help you, but make your own mistakes, take your own time, learn your own way, master your emotions the way you need to. We're all out to master the same range of emotions, but we're all having such different experiences because we are creating those experiences based on how we wish to learn. You have the same syllabus in school does not mean all the kids in that class will study the same way and do as well. Every kid will choose a different way to learn. One person might, keep repetitively reading it. Another person might have 100 questions and they understand it and they're done. Another person might want tuitions to understand it deeper. Another person might just simply be like, let me just learn by rote and just vomit that all out on the exam paper. They're different ways of learning. And that is true no matter who you are, no matter what generation you belong to, no matter what situation you belong to. You see a set of twins also. What they will learn from the exact same environment will be two completely different things. So much of it is also based on the emotions we wish to master at that point. In that fifth plane, I think of, oh my God, I'm so angry. Like, I say, God, I'm so angry at you, I want to kill you. Or, like, I'm just so done, I can't take this anymore. I wish I wasn't around to see this. There you are in a plane of instant manifestation. You would have said something, it would have been done. Imagine how it would have felt when that actually just happens. When we think of all the things that we speak on a daily basis, so many of those are just exaggerated phrases to bring a point across. But imagine if those just actually happened. You think of something and it just happens in that second. Now, what do you do? Here we have our time to learn. Here we're all masters of our own emotions. So when you're given such a huge privilege on this plane to experience emotions, at what point do we begin resenting those very same emotions? I have come here to master my emotions. My emotions have not come here to be the master of me. The problem begins when my emotions feel like they're the master of me. And that is all also dependent on what I'm doing and how much I've held that emotion back. When I am holding an emotion back for long enough, it's like a spring which I keep on pressing. At a certain point, my fingers will get tired and I will release it. And at that time, it'll spring back with all the force of suppression. So I was holding it for 5 minutes, it probably spring back with that intensity. I've been holding it for years and years and years. Imagine the tension that has accumulated here and how much that spring will bounce back. So that's what happens when we accumulate our emotions as well and are unable to accept them. Because I'm unable to accept a certain thing, I'm just kind of putting it in a corner. And that corner is within my body, within my. So one day it's going to come up. It's going to come up as an illness. It's going to come up as an upheaval of emotion, maybe. So any of you that have had and most of you would have had an emotional time, or we sometimes we call it an emotional breakdown, or you say I was just overwhelmed. I don't know if any of you've experienced where one day you're suddenly just crying, and if somebody comes and asks you what happened, you're like, I don't even know why I'm crying. I don't even know what happened. You just want to cry in that moment and you have no idea what happened. But it's almost like there was so much there that now nothing has even happened just now. Something just barely touched the surface. But under the surface, there was so much tension that it's like the volcano simply erupts and you're just, all this emotion just needs to get out of your system. And that's what's happening. Now, instead, if I'm simply accepting it, and I understand that it's a big ordeal to ask that out of anyone. Okay, so you're feeling all these emotions, accept them. But we can at least make a start. That one statement, the one tool I've given you, use that. Other than that, you have the B technique. Not all of you have learned it. What we do in the daily theta sessions is the tip of the iceberg. Because we cannot get in depth with it with like on a public forum because there's so many people. But it's still highly effective, and all of you already know that. Use it. Use these statements, use these tools. So many times when we come on to these sessions, we don't plan what we have to say. And then when the session gets done, we actually go back and think, oh, this is an important tool. This is something we should probably put on Instagram so people have it for easy reference even later. Because we all tend to forget. If somebody asks me 10 days from now, can you, Richa, can you give me 10 tools that can be used, for accepting your emotions? I'm probably going to be like, I'll have to think about it and not have much to say. But in the moment, in the energy of what we're doing, there's so many tools that come up, strong, powerful meditations that come up. And it's the energy of the sessions that we're doing, it's the energy of each and every person that is over here. So please use those tools when you're feeling fear. Allow yourself to think about what happens beyond that fear. So even you have your Mountain Dew, right? Dar ke aage jeet hai. But it is when you're going beyond the fear and beyond, like, because that block is so big, it is so overwhelming. And now when I go like, okay, I want to go beyond that. I wish to truly heal from that. What can happen? What is the worst that can happen? And it's all right if you cannot do it by yourself. Do not condemn yourself for that. Therapists are not here if you're having a major issue, a major breakdown, a major meltdown. You do not need to wait for your life to completely, sort of shake up before you go and find a therapist for yourself. simply because it is like an emotional cleaning which is required every once in a while. It's like quicksand. If I'm in quicksand, kitchen, the more I'm going, so I'm caught up in this situation and really entrenched in it. Could be a family situation, it could be a work thing, it could be my own emotions, my own past experiences, which have framed my reality very solidly a certain way. When I'm entrenched in it, the more force I put to get out of it. You're in quicksand, the more force you're going to put, the deeper it's going to take you in. Instead, if I stop resisting it, I stop applying my force, stop resisting it, stop wanting to make a point of, no, I can get out of this. You can get out of this. But nobody said you have to do it yourself. Me putting my hand up and asking for help and allowing myself to be helped is also me getting out of it. In that moment, somebody who's not caught up in that situation might very easily be able to pull you out. For them, it might just be one pull and you're done. Does not mean you're not strong, does not mean that you failed at something. It means you knew when to ask for help and how to receive it. Then use your power to actually help people. Use your power to close that pit of quicksand if you want. You're helping a lot more people not get into it. Use the knowledge you have to make other people aware of that emotional trap. What are we doing here just now? We're doing exactly that, right? We're collectively using whatever knowledge and understanding we have of situations, either from experiencing those in therapy, experiencing those in real life, to see if we can share that so we can all grow as a community. Does not mean we never had to ask for help. We still have moments where we feel so flustered. I had a toddler who woke up 4 times last night. I pumped right before, and I was literally like, my eyes were closed. And I was just like, okay, half an hour, get done. I just couldn't do it anymore. I know I spoke yesterday about, not losing it at them because it's not their fault. They're also feeling something, they're unable to express it. And while not losing it at them, I still in the middle of the night was like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Because you don't understand what's happening. It is normal because you understand how to deal with it does not mean that a situation might not happen. But at that same time, I was literally telling myself, okay, I feel so helpless that he's crying so much. I feel sad that he's crying so much. I feel tired. My body feels tired at this given point in time. But I accept and choose to change it. I accept and choose to change it. I asked for help when I needed it. I knew that he would stay better with me. And I was like, no, it's fine if it's 3 in the morning. I know that this is something that's going to help. Let me see if I can do that. Extend your hand where you need it, because fear is also one of those things that it might have been building since a while. Fear comes from our own experience. Fear comes from new experiences because we do not know whether we will be able to cope with it. Fear comes from something that is instilled within us. We have genetic fears also. Something that, for years and years you've been listening to and you've been told that, oh my God, this is so scary. Where do you think the fear of childbirth comes from? Even men fear it. Never have to do it, they still fear it. Where do you think that labor pain comes from? Your body is not designed to feel pain for something before it happens. If I hit you, you're going to feel the pinch that hurt after it happened or while it happened. Where do you think that like literally I've seen people so scared of it that, oh my God, like they're like, no, I'm fine with doing everything else, but God, like, I don't know what will happen when I have to give birth. It's an instilled fear. You've never been through it, but you've heard so much about it that to you also it's a very real experience. We have lots of instilled fears. There's so many illnesses we've heard so much about. So when I spoke about a cancer and a headache, at an energetic level being equivalent to heal, there is no reason a cancer needs to take longer to heal than a headache. But it is an instilled fear and instilled consciousness where we've heard of, oh my God, this person has had cancer and they suffered so much. So even when we hear somebody else going through it, or God forbid, a person has to ever face it as well, before the actual pain kicks in, before the actual effects on your body begin to show, your fear of how painful the process will be, your fear of whether you can ever get out of it or not, your fear of losing all your hair, your fear of getting so fragile, your fear of so many things will come and hit you. So fear precedes what is happening. Similarly, in relationships, stuck in a toxic relationship, I'm talking about Indian society here now. Stuck in a toxic relationship, you want to get out of it. You are clear, you have all the support in the world. Oh, how will it be perceived if I have a divorce? I will have to go through society shaming. I will have to start afresh. I will have to learn how to find my bearing. It's going to be extremely tough to be so now the notions of being a single parent, of starting again and being single at a certain age. Abroad, where that might have been something that's more of a known experience, they've seen it. A lot of people are single parents there. A lot of people have, like they don't believe in putting up with bullshit. We've seen, and we've been instilled with the notion that, marriage is a once in a lifetime thing. You do everything in your power to stay in it and make it work. Abroad, they might have seen something different. Nothing is right or wrong. Their fears might be different. Does not mean they're not scared of starting fresh. But the fears that they might be going through, the experiences they might be going through might be different. So look at also when you're introspecting, what are my instilled fears? Is this fear really mine, or is it something I've borrowed from the environment? We borrow a lot of fears from the environment also. The fears that lie within our group consciousness. Fear of lack is one of those things. We all come from an energy of abundance. We speak about how we are universal beings and spiritual beings. And of course, that means we've come from an energy of abundance. But most of us also go through the fear of lack, fear of scarcity. What if my money runs out? What if my resources run out? What if I do not have a house? Technically, we're all designed to be whole and complete within ourselves. Yet, so many of us have the fear of landing up alone. Right? What happens if I land up all alone? Even when I'm talking about, being misunderstood, being rejected, those will also go eventually to being alone. What happens if you're misunderstood? No, I mean, no matter what I do, nobody gets it. And okay, so who needs these people? Yeah, what happens then? What happens if people keep rejecting them? Fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood, they're all at the surface of a deeper root, which is the fear of landing up alone. The fear of having failed at life, being alone. We come across the fear of, oh, I would have, disappointed God so many times. And I'm like, not people who are very religious either. But the thing that, no, I have a purpose here. And what if I just fail it if I don't do anything? So what can we do about it? A is being more aware. The more aware you are, the more in tune with your own frequencies you are. Let's not fear fear. See it in the eye. Does not mean you have to fight it today. See it in the eye and move forward. It's like seeing a tiger. I might not have the strength to fight that tiger today. So put a plexiglass in the middle, but at least look the tiger in the eye today. Tomorrow we'll get to seeing what to do about it, but at least take a step today. Till we fear, and we just don't want to go beyond that overwhelm, it's difficult. Understand you are the master of your emotions. So you've got this. You're going to be okay. The minute you get to the root, you might either realize there was nothing to be scared about. Those are generally the times you've taken a fear from the environment. You know, you walked into a situation where everyone is very scared. What happens at a hospital? Why do you go to an ICU and suddenly just get very, very serious? Suddenly the fear of death comes in when you're like in that ICU ward. You might see sometimes, there might be one person who might just be needing monitoring and is fine now. But they've been kept there just for that extra precaution. But you go in there and, it's a different energy altogether. Why? Because the environment has that energy. Where there's a lot of, people who might be critical at that point. So you go there and you automatically, we are very intuitive, sensitive beings. We catch on to the things that are happening around us. Because we are in tune with what's around us, suddenly you might be feeling that. Now, when you might have picked up any fear, like you said, picking up a flu from the place that you've gone to, you're going to get okay. When you look deeper into it, you might realize I don't hold the root to this. I have a little tree I have, but it's just something I've picked up. I am not the person who has the root to it. I do not have the seed. So it will either dissipate over time or, when you go to a therapist, they'll help you realize there was nothing there. It's an environmental thing, virus you've picked up and you've let it go now. But when something is attacked your system, when something is at the seed and you hold that seed, comes from your experience, comes from your beliefs, comes from what you've seen, comes from many, many places. Also could be an environmental thing which has grown in your system and has a seed now. That's when all we need to do is get to the seed and work on replacing that seed with something that we want instead. Okay? Is this clear with everyone? Yeah? Meg, I want you to just take note of all the fears people have mentioned as well. When we do a release, I'll see if I can take them up. But I feel like so many of it now, if that you've understood it, allow yourself to reflect upon that as well and see what fears you genuinely feel. And then we'll work on it as well. Tomorrow we'll do a release session, probably. Every day I plan something and then it goes in a different direction. So I'm not going to promise you that. Okay. So we'll probably do a release tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Let's just connect and see whatever meditation, whatever downloads come in. Can I download for each one of you that I know and understand the creator of all that is his definition and perspective of being aware, that I know what it feels like, how to, when to, and that it is safe and possible for me to be aware of the sensations within my own body, of what and how I truly feel, of those things around me, to be aware and mindful of the people and situations around me, to be aware and mindful of the emotions that I feel in any given moment, and to know that I allow this awareness to be something that's an asset to me, that I allow this awareness to propel me forward as I understand that every emotion that I've ever felt that might have felt too much in that moment is simply a lesson in learning, is simply an accumulation of a few experiences I have. is that any problem that I feel is truly prominent within my life is a problem I already have the solution to. The key is within my own mind, and the key is within my own energetic sphere. And I allow myself to get to that key now, that I know what it feels like, how to, when to, and that it is safe and possible for me to choose the mastery of emotions to be a fun and joyous experience for myself. That I allow myself to be in awareness of my journey and to be in joy of that journey, to be in awareness of all that I am, and to understand within that awareness that I am a spiritual being having this very beautiful human experience and feeling grateful for the same. Allowing myself to make the most of this human experience and to make the most of these learnings without the need in me to get intertwined in the drama, in the group consciousness, in the earthly consciousness of the third plane, without the need in me to get entrenched in the patterns of sacrifice and suffering, to know and understand very simply and through the creator of all that is that life is a journey of learning, and that I am here in my human experience on a journey of mastering my emotions, and that that can be a happy and joyous experience, that that can be a smooth and easy experience as well, and that I choose to have the smooth and easy experience within my life now, that I allow myself to move forward aware, in connection to who I truly am, in acknowledgement and gratitude of all the emotions that I truly feel, and in knowing and understanding and experiencing, living my daily life, mastering these emotions and enjoying these emotions for what they are, acknowledging each emotion for what it is and for all that it contributes to my overall growth and progress forward. That I choose to move forward now, that I choose to progress and feel whole and complete within myself now, and that I allow this for myself now. That I am in an energy of love and acceptance. I love and accept all of who I am, all of what I feel, and all of the situations that I am in. And I choose to heal the ones that need that healing, that I choose to heal any situation that I'm in, any emotion I'm in that is currently not in tune with my growth and with where I need to be in life, that I choose to heal that now, that I am healed, I am whole, and I am complete, that I know what it is like to stand up for myself and to create the life that I truly desire. Can I download these for everyone into every cell, atom, molecule of their body, every area of their life, at all four levels of their belief systems, in any and every language ever known or understood by you for your highest and best and in your highest and best manner? Say yes to receive this download. And just allowing the energy of this download to be within your space now, like a beautiful golden light, beautiful waterfall of this golden light that is entering your space, embracing it, accepting it, feeling that cleansing energy simply balance and ground you. Take your time, enjoy this process. Allow it to cleanse you, to ground you, to balance you, to make you feel one with who you are and with your divine light. You were sent here to master those emotions because you're ready to master them. You are the power, and you're ready for this. You chose this because it was a great opportunity, because your soul is ready to move forward. So embrace it now. All is well in your world. Feeling balanced, grounded, calm, and yet energetic. Whenever you feel ready, simply open your eyes. Is everyone back? So thank you so much, you guys, for joining us today and every day. We'll continue this journey forward tomorrow. See what comes up for us tomorrow. Do some releases. If you're doing releases, please everyone be on time, because I feel bad then with some people missing half the releases, and then the other people who've been waiting for that long for the session to start. So please come in on time. We'll do releases. If not, we'll be going in depth about something further, but it will be a wonderful session. So thank you so much, each and every one of you. See you tomorrow.